Hey everyone, let's make some cookies. I'm a former fat kid and I love my cookies. I'm gonna make chocolate chip. It's the world's worst chocolate chip cookie, and this by far is the best chocolate chip cookie I've found on the internet. I'm also gonna make oatmeal cookies. This recipe will come from the Quaker oatmeal container. Now, I'm not gonna bake the cookies. I'm gonna make up the dough. I'm gonna freeze it and then give it to my aunt and uncle. So whenever they want fresh baked cookies, pop them in the oven, 15-20 minutes tops, and they have fresh baked cookies. Who wouldn't love that, right? So let's go. Here's the recipe for the Quaker Oats oatmeal cookie. And again, I got this recipe off the container of Quaker oatmeal. It's my flour I'm measuring out. You combine flour, baking soda, cinnamon, salt, and nutmeg. And usually when you're making cookies, you're going to have two bowls. You're going to have your wet ingredients and your dry ingredients. And the dry ingredients you usually have to whisk together, as I'm doing right there. Get my butter in here, and I'm using a quart Ka mixer because I made double the batch, I believe, of these cookies. And I'm getting my sugars together, and I'm breaking up the brown sugar, that's light brown sugar, because I've learned over the years baking, if you don't and you start mixing it, it'll be clumpy. And here's the oats I'm getting out. It takes 3 cups for a single batch, so a double batch it took 6 cups of oats. And you cream your sugars, light brown sugar, and your butter together. Butter has to be room temperature. Much easier to cream when it's at least room temperature. And in the meantime, while that's creaming, I whisk together the flour mixture a little bit more. Now I'm scraping down the sides of the mixer, adding in my eggs. I add them in one at a time and let them kind of mix together a little bit before adding the next one. There's my vanilla. That vanilla comes from Costco. I love that vanilla extract. It is the best out there that I have used. Now I'm adding my flour mixture, getting that all mixed together. Here comes the oats. Now I didn't add raisins or anything else. These are just oatmeal cookies because I wasn't sure if my aunt and uncle liked the raisins, but they told me they did. So next time I make them a batch, I will add raisins. Now I'm getting my cookie sheet prepared. Again, I'm freezing these. So here's my large scoop. Scooping out the cookie dough. You do not have to worry about spacing because you're not going to cook them. Because you know when you bake them, you have to leave enough space in case they spread. But since I'm freezing them, you just put as many on your prepared cookie sheet as you can. And I do prepare it with parchment paper so nothing sticks. Here you can see the bowl's empty. Put it in here and it has to stay in there for at least an hour. That way your cookie dough will harden. And that's pretty much it. Now, let's make the world's worst chocolate chip cookie. Yeah, I have my glasses on because I'm going to tell you something. I'm blind as a bat without them. I'll be able to follow the recipe because I can't read without them. Do you feel me? I'm like nearsighted and farsighted. That's blind. 1 and 1 is blind. And here I am wiping down that 8-quart mixer. I wiped it down and now I'm using a Clorox wipe to sanitize it, put it away, because I won't need it for the single batch of the world's worst chocolate chip cookies. I'll use a 5-quart mixer for that. And I use these covers to keep any lint off of the mixers. Here's the recipe. There's your melted butter. And you have to let it cool for at least 10 minutes after you melt it. Your sugars, your eggs, maple syrup, flour ingredients, and then your chips. And I have Hershey candy bars in there too, which I just broke up by hand. So you cream your brown sugar, light brown sugar, white sugar, and your butter together. When you melt your butter, you need to let it sit for at least 10 minutes. I've let it sit for at least about 45 minutes and it's been okay. And there's my flour mixture. Flour, cornstarch, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And you whisk that together. Now you add each egg one at a time and let the first egg kind of combine first before you add the second one. And after they combine, I'm measuring out my maple syrup. And I got this off of Amazon. And I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of vanilla. The recipe calls for 1 teaspoon, but I use 2 tablespoons and then a little splash more because you never get everything out of those teaspoons. Now I'm adding the maple syrup, just scraping down the attachment and the sides, make sure everything's getting incorporated. Adding the flour mixture. You want to add it slowly. You don't want to dump it all in there one at a time. And you let that incorporate. And I'm scraping the sides a little bit. Now you add your chips. You don't have to add the Hershey candy bar, but I like the extra chocolate. And these are just Hershey candy bars that you can buy at, any grocery store. And you can hand mix your chips. You don't have to use the mixer. If you use a mixer, don't do it for a long time or it'll really break it up and you'll have like dust for chocolate. You cover it with saran wrap and it has to be refrigerated for at least 30 minutes. And now I have my Quaker oatmeal cookies out. They've been in the freezer for at least an hour. I put a sticky note on there with the instructions on how to bake them, when I made them, and what they are. And I tapped it to show you that it is frozen. Again, there's my sticky note on there. Date, name of the cookie, and the baking instructions. And in these bags, I can get 12 or 13 of these large cookie dough pieces in there. So this recipe yielded about 25 cookies for my aunt and uncle, because I believe I had 12 in one and 13 in the other bag. See, if you don't use the sticky note, it gets all messy and you can't read it, but there's with the sticky note. So now I'm going to repeat the process with the world's worst chocolate chip cookie dough. Scooping it out, and I just use the same parchment paper that I use for the oatmeal. No point in wasting. And again, you do not have to worry about the spacing because you're not baking these. You're just putting them on here to put in the freezer for at least an hour so they'll harden so that you can bag them up. I'm just showing you the large cookie dough that is full, continuing scooping them out. And again, these are the best chocolate chip cookies that I've ever eaten, for that matter. Home baked, bought in the store, bought in the bakery, whatever. These are the best. My siblings love them. My aunt and uncle love them. My cousins love them. I mean, they're just the best. And I found out about this recipe from one of my Facebook cooking groups, and I tried it out, and it's phenomenal. I think it's that there's the date, name of the cookies, and the baking instructions. And they've been in there an hour, and I'm just bagging them up, ready for my aunt. And until my sister could take them to my aunt, I put the baggies of cookie dough back in the freezer, and then she took them over to them later on, like I think 2 or 3 days later. Look at that big piece of Hershey bar there. That's going to be a fantastic cookie. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and if you did, give me a like, share the video, and let me know what kind of cookies you guys like to eat or to bake. If anybody has a peanut butter cookie recipe, a good one, let me know. I want to make some of those. Thanks again for watching.